Welcome to Amici, news and insight from the New York Judiciary and the Unified Court System. I'm John Carr. June is Pride Month, and the Richard C. Failla LGBTQ Commission of the New York Courts is hosting a dozen events across the state throughout the month. The first event was in Albany on June 10th, where Presiding Justice Elizabeth Garry of the Appellate Division 3rd Department spoke. Justice Garry is a historic figure in her own right, the first openly gay presiding justice in state history. Here is a snippet of her poignant remarks.
This is, of course, a particular momentous series of Pride events that are happening across our state this year because we are celebrating the 50th anniversary of the Stonewall event. And this anniversary provides an important opportunity to look back from where we came and to examine, to some extent, the history of LGBTQ people and the law. We all know that LGBTQ people have faced a long history of discrimination. The law dictated the contours of relationships, child rearing, housing, employment opportunities, and so many other areas affecting our personal lives in ways that were intentionally discriminatory. And like many other painful chapters of our nation's history, we have to reckon with that. Especially, of course, those of us who work in government or in the courts. We look back upon the ways in which our laws and our prior judicial decisions reflected and reinforced those of the social majority at the time. LGBTQ people, as we know, were pathologized, criminalized, and regarded with contempt and what I have called righteous ugliness. For many people, that left two choices: either live in secrecy or face and suffer the consequences. And it was around that time that Stonewall and the Pride movement were born. It was around the time, I misspoke, that around the time of Stonewall that the Pride movement was born, when activists began rejecting those two options and demanding social justice. We've made, and we're here for a Pride event in the Albany County Courthouse because we have made tremendous strides in these 50 years. But as we celebrate Pride Month, it's important to reflect upon the progress, to pause and consider the hard work, the extensive effort that went into that progress, what was actually undertaken by courageous individuals and groups that got us to where we are today. And we are mindful, of course, of the progress yet to come. As we recall a history of fear and discrimination, we're reminded of the importance of being, I'm going to echo some of Judge Breslin's remarks, of being thoughtful, open-minded, compassionate, and of acting in a way that does not further or continue fostering or perpetuating prejudice. Today, we're fortunate. We have better access than ever to information about how our own personal biases affect our decision-making and the importance of treating everyone with the respect that they deserve. For instance, we're more conscious than at any time in history of the challenges facing gender nonconforming and transgender individuals. Our civic institutions are actively taking steps to increase the level of respect and protection afforded to those members of our community. And it's an area where many of us may have opportunities to grow and to learn, to become more sensitive and more respectful of the needs of our fellow citizens. Celebrating Pride also gives us a chance to acknowledge all that we have to gain when we achieve meaningful diversity and inclusion in our workplaces and in our society. Because we all benefit from treating people fairly and including them in our decision-making process and our institutions. One way we do that is, of course, through cultural competency, and I look forward to Letty Dickerson's remarks on that subject. This is particularly important in our courts. Negative experiences in our justice system erode confidence in the rule of law. Disrespectful treatment, and again I echo Judge Breslin's remarks, disrespectful treatment, even if inadvertent, may cause people to avoid jury service or hesitate to bring their sensitive cases to our courts. We must therefore undertake affirmative efforts to be inclusive in order that we maintain our legitimacy and that we fully earn the trust of the public whom we serve. Our court leaders in the 3rd District have shown a real commitment to this undertaking, and I commend you for that, and for really demonstrating that we mean it when we say equal justice for all. It's got to happen. It's got to happen now. There was an old, I'm going to close with this, there was an old, and some of you may still see it, there's an old bumper sticker that used to proclaim when I was sort of coming of age and this stuff, and it said, because it was a pushback against the moral majority, it said, hate is not a family value. And so some of you have seen that bumper sticker or that flyer. Hate is not a family value. Hate is not a religious or a spiritual value either. And most assuredly, hate is not a value of our great nation or of our state or of our court system.
Thanks for listening to Amici. If you have an idea for an Amici interview, please contact me. I'm John Carr, and I can be reached at 518-453-8669.